If you live in Oregon, you're not going to plan your TV show around the weather. So this is what we get. Did you ever think you'd be in Eugene at a time when this intersection in downtown at Kesey Square would be packed with people? Tonight, it's restaurants, food, eating from Springfield to Eugene, Lebanese food to the best Mexican north of the Mexican border. You've got Belly, you've got Voodoo Donuts, the Barn Light, then there's Sizzle Pizza. They have a really cool bar. Across the street is the First National Tap House. That's a cool place. And next to it, Red Wagon Ice Cream. And if you tried the Bijou Metro Theater, it's my favorite new venue. I'll tell you what, they have these nice little theaters, intimate setting. You can take your beer to the theater with you. Best popcorn in town. They put brewer's yeast and other flavors on it. You gotta try it. And this is the Town Hens Tea House. It's my new go-to spot. I know what you're thinking, a tea house. I used to be the coffee drinker. Well, now this stuff has caffeine in it. It's good for your stomach. It's called kombucha. And this place has the best help, right? You guys are the greatest, right? Just ask them. Up the street, there's Banh Mi. It's a French-Vietnamese restaurant. Everybody that goes there loves it. I love the food. You get plenty. The owners and the staff are excellent. What is French-Vietnamese food? Go find out. Up the street from Banh Mi is Dahlia on Broadway. Ib Hamid opened this restaurant in the former Xenon restaurant location. Ebone's Cafe Sarai, you're gonna see more about that later in the show. Kathy, my son, Jake, and I went there for dinner at Dahlia the other night for his birthday. The food is unbelievable. Flavorful, it's different, your taste buds are gonna dance, and if you aren't sure what to order, ask Tony the manager. He can mix up the menu. Chicken shawarma, that's my favorite. So our featured restaurant tonight is Soubies. It's this really cool, chic place in downtown Eugene, right next to Sizzle Pie. And it's owned by a couple of guys. They're trying something a little different in Eugene, and we're really excited to introduce you to this. This is Corey Stamp. He's one of the owners. Thanks for letting us in
Rick,
tonight.
how you doing?
No, it's good. Good to be in here. We want to find out what this is all about.
Yeah, come back in the
kitchen. Okay, let's go talk to Gabe. Hey, Gabe.
How's it going?
This is Gabe Gill. He's the chef. What does Soubies mean?
Well, it's an old French sauce that kind of fell out of favor, and that was kind of brought back by modern techniques. It's a sauce. It used to be thickened with rice. It's now thickened with other things.
What kind of food are we talking about here?
We want to use local, organic, as much as we can. All Northwestern fare. We live in a great bounty that's Oregon, and we use French techniques to make it in a new way.
Do you love this location? I mean, what's happening down here?
Yes, and we've got a good block going right now. I'm curious to see what happens in downtown over the next couple years. Maybe we can get 2 or 3 blocks.
What's really fun is, as somebody who's lived here a long time, you guys have been here a while too, is to see people walking downtown, and we have choices. So you got pizza next door, here, more upscale, a nice place. This is like the kind of place you take, people out and have a really nice, intimate, quiet dinner,
Well, that was kind of the goal for the restaurant, is to be something different down here. The city asked us if we would consider coming down here. We made the leap, and we're pretty happy with it so far.
We need places like this that you can go when you say, where do we want to go tonight? Let's go down, and yet you're still part of this whole scene downtown.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, we are.
All right, so we're going to come back in a little bit, and you're going to cook something up for us to show off what you do.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, we've told you about Ib, introduced you to Ib at Dahlia, his restaurant. Well, he named that after his daughter. Little fun fact, he's got another daughter named Soraya, Cafe Soraya. Have you heard of that? Well, check this out. This is good.
There's a sense of community. There are relationships you build. There's socializing you do. It brings in so many different elements of life, real life, when you're giving not just of your labor, but truly of yourself. 5 nights a week, my little Meals on Wheels is active. I'm behind it, making fires, making people smile, making tasty food, and getting a chance to visit with people firsthand. When I say Mediterranean, I just have that freedom. Anything that borders the Mediterranean is fair game to me. So it's much more fun, much more inclusive, much more diverse. I know 80% plus of the people that walk in here. I mean, what a pleasure to be doing business with friends that you cultivated over years. That sense of community that you mentioned definitely defines that. 20 years now, it'll be 20 years on June 26. So it's been a fun ride. It creates friendship, it creates the sense of community. There are people that have been coming here for as long as I've been open. And that just the sense when they walk through the door and I just look and it's this continuum of relationship, continuum friendship. All that woodwork was done by hand and with care and love, and I didn't want to violate that. There's not a nail anywhere in that room. Everything is joined together in a very special artistic way. I feel like I inherited somebody else's treasure, and you're so careful not to do any harm to it. So I feel privileged to have this little house that has become a very romantic dining room. And of course our courtyard, which is just my favorite feature of it in the summertime, because it's just a little garden that's tucked away and secluded. Most people are pleasantly surprised when you keep walking them through the dining room onto this little patio. So when you're doing something that is clean and pure and with love, it nourishes you as you're nourishing others. What a great relationship. So I really think that's what sustains me, is that I do things that actually sustain others. And I think that relationship is symbiotic and mutually beneficial. As one of my favorite philosophers said about work, Khalil Gibran said, "Work is love made visible."
Look how small the table looks compared to my glasses.
It's kind of your size table, isn't it?
I love it. It's
No, but you know,
perfect.
the granite from these came from the building, the building that used to be here, where Soubies is now in.
Right.
This granite was in that building, and we think it was a JCPenney's. I think that's a cool little fact to tell people.
I like that.
So Will, you know, the intern and I,
Right,
we were
right.
downtown the other day shooting some video. We found a new Mexican place. It's just a little trailer down here by Lucky's.
Dos Banderos. Been down there.
Thank you.
That place is great.
Well, we've talked to the owners, and then we talked to the son, who's the cook.
You have to do it the right way, I guess. Authentic Mexican food.
But Rick, don't go cheating on our friends at Ranchito Grill.
We would never cheat on Abe and our friends at Ranchito Grill. Best Mexican food in the area. Love this place. You really have to try it. After the story, we're going to announce the winner of the contest.
How exciting.
What I love about this business is the people. I'm a people person, so I love to interact with people, and I love to make people feel good. So one of the ways, is obviously with food, because when people taste something that is really good and really authentic, and have a really good service, they feel good. So that's what we're passionate about is people. We really care about people. What I will tell you, about our food is that we prepare everything from scratch. So we make sure we hire people that have the passion for making food. That's one of the ingredients. The other one, we make sure that our recipes, they use the ingredients that we tell them to use. And before we put it into the market, we make sure we test, try it, So we make our food from scratch, and people that we have as employees, they really care about how the food tastes. So they make sure that it's really good and authentic Mexican food. The only Americanized part, on these recipes are the melted cheese over, because people here like the melted cheese, And in Mexico we don't use that. But the flavor in the recipes and the ingredients, we use, all Mexican ingredients. But the only thing is Americanized is just to melt the cheese over. On some of the items like enchiladas or burritos, but like the carne asada, we use, Mexican seasoning to make sure that the flavor stays up as a Mexican dish. The golden rule is, obviously to treat others as you like to be treated. So when we start the business is the same way. You just need to treat others as you like to be treated. So we train them how to take care of the guests, how to make sure the quality of the food is coming out. Because from that, it depends everything. If you don't bring a quality food, then you're done. People love the way the food tastes. They cannot find, this kind of taste, in town. Even though it's a Mexican restaurant and the menu can be similar to so-and-so, but when they taste the food, they can tell the difference. There's something in it that they cannot tell what it is, but it's more flavorful, more, I don't know, they can really tell that it's authentic Mexican food. It's not just like any other. We put some quotes in the wall, different quotes and all this, because in Mexico, and in a little town, our grandparents and parents always use quotes to talk to us. So we just took some quotes from here, from America, so we can mix, like our tradition with the American tradition. I will ask everybody to come, and give us a chat. And I make sure that I talk to them, if they don't like it, I pay for it, I'm very confident on our food, because we eat it every day and we don't get tired.
Oh, Rick, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I have the winner. Drum roll, exactly. Dana Bankus from Royal Caribbean.
Congratulations, Dana, you're the winner. So tell them how the contest works.
Well, all you do is go by Ranchito Grill on Mohawk. You enter to win, which is just information where we can get a hold of you. Your name, your phone number, email address, and get in on this contest. You win free dinner for two and drinks at Ranchito Grill, right?
Yep, and just look for the Rick Dancer TV sign in Ranchito Grill. All right, this is Gabe Gill, the chef. What are you going to make for us tonight?
We have some Dungeness crab and some lingcod. We press different fillets together and make them sort of like a scallop. Some nice color on there. Really good way to cook fish is you never flip it over. Let it get a good sear on one side and let it gently cook by ambient heat on the other. Some nice fingerling potatoes from a local farm. I'm from LA. Cooked a lot down there. Cooked in Portland for a while, Santa Fe, New Mexico. My wife came to school at U of O. I ended up here, which wasn't what I envisioned. But hey, I'm really glad this happened. I'm really glad that I'm here. See how it's nice and golden on one side. The other side is barely cooked through. There you have it.
When I got wind that Coburg Pizza was moving into the old Abbey's building off Centennial in Springfield, I got really excited. I know you're thinking Rick really needs to get out more if he thinks pizza's that exciting. Pizza is my favorite food. I work out so that I can eat pizza and chocolate chip cookies. I know, I tell people I work out because it's healthy. I tell people I work out because of the challenge. I tell people I work out because I want to be strong. That's what keeps me in the pool. That's what keeps me on a bike. That's what keeps me at the gym. I'm lying. I confess. I eat pizza, so that's why I work out. Coburg Pizza understands choice. They make authentic pizzas and then pizzas that are just weird. I mean, look at the toppings up there. They have something for everybody. Their whole theory is everything tastes better on a crust, and that's obvious when you look at that board. I met Terry Dawson a few years ago. Someone told me there was this great pizza place called Coburg Pizza out in Coburg. We tried it and we went there regularly. I like Terry because he's a pastor, but he's also a businessman and he really cares about the community where he lives. So we were pretty excited when my wife and I drove by on Centennial and saw the old Abbey's building had a new sign up that said Coburg Pizza in Springfield.
from our perspective, some of our initial reason for opening a restaurant to begin with, pizza provided an opportunity by which to get to know people because people like pizza. So it seemed to work a little better than a salad bar at the time. The more we started feeding friends and family and neighbors and all, the more we began to hear, gosh, you ought to take this on the road, or you ought to open up a shop. 5.5, 6 years ago, we did take it on the road about a half mile away from our house and opened up a little shop in Coburg and have been serving dozens and hundreds and probably thousands and thousands of pies since then. I'm the first non-all-Italian in the line, and my grandfather taught me to make pizza when I was about 10 or 11 years old, and they'd come and visit 2 or 3 times a year when we lived in Southern Oregon, and he was always teaching me how to cook. He'd always call me son. He'd say, son, we need to open a restaurant someday. We need to make pizza together. And he started that by teaching me how to make pizza. And I think, though, if he saw some of the things we were putting on crust today, it might be a bit disturbing for him. I don't know, maybe 20 years or so ago, my wife needed to make pizza one night, but we didn't have the normal stuff in the fridge that we normally made pizza out of, so she grabbed some chicken and barbecue sauce, and we thought we invented the barbecue chicken pizza. Well, we invented one, but not the, apparently. We were a few years late to invent the original. But that kind of started a whole different mindset for us. And we've kind of moved forward with the philosophy that if it tastes good, it'll taste better on crust. And so we trust in our crust, and we put about anything you can imagine on it. We've created jalapeno poppers on crust. In fact, it's the jalapa, which is our jalapeno popper pizza, has become a huge fan favorite. We put jambalaya on pizza. We put barbecue pulled pork on pizza. We put breakfast on pizza. Well, right now there's 57 different kinds of pizza on the menus. Right now I think we're up to 99 or 100 toppings, sauces, and cheeses, and we definitely want to break the 100 mark here at some point soon and see how far we can go. Well, when we opened the first little shop in Coburg, which is still going strong, we did it because we'd lived in town for 10 years and didn't really feel like we knew any of our neighbors, at least not in the way that we wanted to. We'd go to the post office and say hi to folks that we'd run into, but not necessarily know them by name or their stories or any particular thing. We really wanted an opportunity to be able to interact with the folks in our neighborhood and just be friends. And I think we know half the folks in Coburg by name, and we've been serving pizza to them now for nearly 6 years. So when the opportunity here came about, we wondered if the same kind of privilege that we'd experienced in Coburg, which was really becoming part of the community and really getting to know our neighbors, might also be a possibility in a new neighborhood. Our new neighborhood here in the Centennial area of Springfield has just been hugely, warmly welcoming. And we're pretty excited about that because we want to be part of their lives, we want them to be part of ours, and we want to invite them over to our house for dinner. We just have a little larger house here on Centennial.
The other great thing about Coburg Pizza is Terry and his family run this place. Terry, his wife, he has a number of kids. Most of them work here or at the Coburg location. And it really is a family place, and they really believe what they say, is this is about the community. And I like that about Terry.
Hello, I'm here with the local lunch gals, officially local lunch gals. You can find them on Facebook. Wine Julia, they get food and review restaurants, and Perk, taste wine.
Hi, I'm Jen.
And I'm Julia.
You know what? I'm Maria.
Thanks for letting me join you. What are you about? You just go to different restaurants? Are you invited, or do you just kind of?
We have been invited a few times, but in the beginning we did pick and choose wherever we went, and it just started out for fun. And then we decided to make it more of a club where we could review restaurants and write about it on Eugene Daily News.
What are we having now?
Well, right now we're drinking a 2011 Ayers Pinot Noir.
And check out this food grub they got. They're torturing me. Do you get a lot of people hounding you? They want to be involved in your club? Is there a sign-up sheet? How do I get in?
Leave comments on Eugene Daily News under the local Lunch Gals column, or you can go onto our Facebook page and leave messages and let us know you want to join us.
Nice. Nice. Also, I'm learning a lot about the glasses. Do a lot of people not know that?
A lot of people don't know that, yeah.
Okay.
But that's okay. I mean, it definitely does. A big bowl like this is great for Pinot Noir. It really lets the aromas come out.
I like it. Cheers to that. I'll let you guys eat now. Thank you.
You might have to try this too. I'm just going to hand it over to you so you can have a bite. This is what we do in the local lunch gals. We share.
This is the best lunch club I've ever been in. Okay.
As many of you probably know, in 2010 I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. I'm now doing some work with the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute, and the other day we did a WaterCooler interview with them on what happens if the cancer does return. And I gotta tell you, as a guy who's now cured, you always have in the back of your head, what if? And after doing this interview, I felt so much better about the possibility of what happens if it does come back. Hey, I'm Rick Dancer. Welcome to the WaterCooler. We're here with Dr. Monticelli with the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute. He's a medical oncologist. So basically what that means for our viewers is if someone has prostate cancer and they've been treated and the PSA starts to go back up, you would be one of the people they would come visit.
Yeah, that's correct. When the PSA starts rising after you've had definitive therapy, that means surgery or radiation, typically that means that you've got cancer cells somewhere making that PSA. And the good news would be that you might not have to do something right away. If the PSA is rising slowly and we track that over time, then for those patients, and that's a lot of them, you just continue watchful waiting. A lot of the treatments have some side effects that men want to avoid. So ideally, if the PSA is moving slowly, again, we just sit back and watch that and keep an eye on things and periodically do some scans. If on the other hand, the PSA is rising rapidly or the cancer has spread into the bone or somewhere else, the good news in that situation is we've got a ton of options now to treat those patients.
And that's a scary thing for a guy. You know, I had cancer, and that's prostate cancer, and it's a scary thing to think, okay, the numbers are going back up. And what I love just from talking with you prior to this interview is to understand that there's a lot of options out there for people.
Right, there are. The first one typically would be to go on a drug called Lupron, and there's some other drugs similar to Lupron. And for a lot of patients, we don't have to leave them on Lupron continuously. We can use what's called intermittent Lupron, and that'll control the PSA for a long period of time. It's really a small percentage of patients that have to go on Lupron and stay on it continuously. Once we go through the Lupron, if that stops working, then there's a number of options that come after that. Those include some old drugs that we had talked about and some newer ones that look extremely promising. And the nice thing about the newer drugs is that typically they work better and they have fewer side effects.
And by the time someone gets to chemotherapy, that's when the other treatments are not working, or their cancer, you actually find something metastasized.
Right. So when people get to chemotherapy, that's really a late stage event. So I do see a small number of patients that when they come in, it's already spread into the bone. And even in those patients, we'll try the hormonal maneuvers first, because sometimes you'll get control for several years with that. But if that fails and it's in the bones, then that's when we move on to things like chemotherapy, drugs like Provenge, or clinical trials, because there's a lot of new agents in the pipeline that look very promising.
That's really the hope at the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute, is you're providing hope because it's not just one answer or two answers. You've got a whole range of options here that people can look at so they don't have to panic, you know?
That's right. And the best thing to do is get some information. But with regards to not panicking, I think the good thing there is that as we see in other cancers, there's a huge number of new drugs that are getting ready to come online. The understanding of cancer is so much more involved than it was just 5 or 10 years ago. And the newer treatments are getting more to the specific abnormalities of the cancer as opposed to broadly toxic treatments like chemotherapy. And I guess the advice that I would give, and the advice I give all my patients, is get information, get some second opinions, and really ask a lot of questions.
All right, I want to talk more about this, but this is it for the WaterCooler. You can go to the website on your screen to get more of this interview, because I'm interested in this. We're going to continue this conversation, so we'll be back. Hey, we're back. We're with Corey. He is one of the co-owners here at Soubies, and word on the street is that if you want a glass of great wine, killer wine, you guys have the best glass list in town.
The real gem in the program is the way we do it. We have 14 wines by the glass, red and white, and 2 champagnes. And we offer all the wines in a 3-ounce pour, a 6-ounce pour, or a 14-ounce carafe, which is a great way to be able to mix and match.
You want to start and come in and have an appetizer with a white, you want to then go to a red, and then you might want an after dinner drink.
Yeah, we have great dessert wines by the glass, and you know, and like I said, I just think it's a way to have fun. You let us worry about it, that's our job, and then everyone else who comes in is supposed to have fun.
So this is really a place where you end up and you spend the evening and have an adventure, and it's...
Well, that's what we hope for. If people will trust us, they will have that experience.
Your artwork.
They're awesome, aren't they?
This is all local. What's it called and who is it?
So this is Judd Turner. Is all the artwork in here is from Judd, and these he calls them space flowers.
I understand that.
They also did the chandeliers, one in the private dining room, one in the front of the restaurant, and then there's a great lingcod skeleton made out of silverware that's really beautiful too.
Here we go.
Cheers.
Here's to Soubies. You know, I interviewed Ken Kesey a few times. I think he'd like the idea that we have a thing called a soapbox where people can get up and rant. But you know what? I'm kind of sick of hearing myself rant. The other day, intern Will Warren and I came out here with the camera, and we decided it was time to hear what you had to say. So we picked 2 random people, and this is what they said.
They've got nicer tents than I do, and yet I'm out there working a temporary job, you know, because I lost mine. Why can't they do the same thing? It irritates me, and then what it does to the city. It gets very irritating. I work really, really hard, and I can't seem to get any help when I need it, but yet they can camp anywhere they want, and the city picks up the bill, and yet we get taxed for it.
Nobody has the vote doesn't mean a damn thing. Voting. It's a fraud. 2 wings of 1 bird. They're the same thing. Why bother? I'm apathetic now. I used to be concerned. Why am I apathetic? Because people just go about their business and they just go buy the bagel and whatever and walk by the guy that's homeless on the street. It's pretty sad.
Oh, hey, I got to tell you about something going on at Detering Orchards. They're having apple days every weekend in October, so it's all kinds of stuff going on. Let me tell you some of the things that are happening here. Sharon Detering's Apple Cobbler served 11 to 4 on the weekends while supplies last. Free samples of apple cider. There's the free corn maze, free hay rides for kids, the Apple Blaster's back. You gotta try that if you've never done it. There's animals, fresh cider, 15 varieties of apples, and Detering's fresh cranberry juice lemonade. You don't wanna miss that, do ya? Remember the Swiftwick sock people? Yeah, the ones that gave me those crazy socks? Hey, they invited me to go on a rafting trip with a bunch of Tennessee fans out to see the U of O and the Tennessee game. And I said, no, I can't go because I have work to do. I have meetings to go. My wife says, you're stupid. You should go. I did, had the greatest time, met some cool people, and we had a fight. My wife Kathy writes destinations on our website. If you've never checked it out, we go to restaurants all over the state of Oregon and we rate them and tell you what we think. And sometimes we really tell you what we think. So if you want honest reviews, go to destinations on rickdancer.tv. Good night.
That's why I watch Rick Dancer TV.